All right, Milsurp Garage back as promised. I want to try to put one of these out every Sunday. I got held back a little bit last week, so I'm putting a bang bang one video out right after the other to try to catch up. And as promised, I said if anybody posted on the last video which one of these 22s they want to see next, these old school 22s, I will put it out there if I have it. And somebody posted the Model 12C, the Remington Model 12. And here it is, the Model 12C. This is 1917 vintage. So this is actually pre-World War I. These were made from 1909 to 1936 as the Model 12. And then in 1936, they changed things around a little bit. Round barrel, a couple of changes here and there. And these things were being produced as the Model 121 till 1954. And then that was the end. And this one is, it predates that Remington barrel code that they would put on here, that black powder X thing. So this had to be dated strictly through the serial number as a 1917. And that is old. 1917 is old. This is old enough to be supposedly Annie Oakley's favorite rifle. So, if you're at Annie Oakley's most favorite, rifle, you got a pretty old rifle. And this is a John Pedersen design. A John Pedersen. That sounds familiar. This is how the Milsurp thing will always link up, even if you're just delving into any old stuff. John Pedersen of the Pedersen device, the device that turned a bolt-action 1903 Springfield into a semi-automatic battle rifle. And supposedly, the things were just a little late. It would have been great to have earlier on, you know what I mean, from the stuff that I read. But I have poked around with those things. I've seen them. I've handled them. I've played with them. It's amazing how you could feel the the influence. You could feel the common design factors. This guy Pedersen had his own way of doing things. I'm kind of like a Browning fanboy, but when I start delving into somebody else's stuff, especially when they have like more than one rifle, you know what I mean? So like this guy, this is the 12. I don't want to just get off on a tangent, but this is, if you ever heard of one, this is a Remington Model 14, same design, same guy, Pedersen, and you could see the similarities. They're similar in size, same type of configuration. Of course, this is a center fire. This one is in 35 Remington, but they were made, there's a few calibers, like 4 calibers back then that everybody was making their rifles in, Winchester and Remington, and they were all competing. I'm going to do a video on this one all on its own and give you all that information one of these days. But it is amazing. They are pretty much basically the same size, and they function very much the same. If you'll notice with the, just like one quick point is, if you notice with these, different than the other ones we've been looking at, what do you notice right away about the action? The magazine tube is traveling with the slide. So that's different than the couple of 22s that we've looked at beforehand, but this wasn't just like some kind of weird thing. This was Pedersen's thing. We got the same thing going on here with the centerfire rifle. But like I said, I'm going to take this Model 14 out of the picture for a while. I don't want to get sidetracked, which you could easily do. Some of these videos, it'd be really cool with these videos to just just transition from stage to stage, step to step, as certain designers went through their thing. But let's stick to this guy. With this guy, we have, again, one of these beautiful inletted, curved butt plates like this. Gorgeous. The wood on this one is just fabulous, too. I was really lucky to find this guy in this condition. Here's the takedown knob. Here's something interesting. You see that hole in the back of the trigger there, if that's visible? That hole was supposedly, these rifles came with a little teeny lock that fit in there somehow. And that was the maybe the first trigger lock ever invented. So that's a pretty cool claim to fame for a rifle. As safety devices, actually. It does have a cross bolt safety as well. A Remington UMC marking there. Also one on the on the butt plate. I'm not sure how well this focuses. I'm still trying to put things together here and figure out how to do the camera. This overhead camera, it gets kind of annoying. I kind of liked it better when it was in front of me, facing forward. I have to just work things out and see what works out good. I'm going to keep this going for a little while, but not sure if I like it that much. As far as scrolling on here or any type of printing, we have the Remington moniker, of course, the short, long, or long rifle. This one isn't limited to just shorts like the Winchester 1890 was. Stepped sight in the back, no micrometer sight here. They did have micrometer sights on some of these. This one has a stepped sight. There were a lot of options you could get with these. If you wanted a round barrel, you could get a round barrel. If you wanted a longer barrel, they did have like options that they would give you if you if you asked. They did have some variations. They were accommodating to how you wanted them. More than today, where so they just offer a rifle and it is the way it is, and that's that. There were some options there. So, of course, this is the takedown knob here, right in the middle. It's a very interesting slide release button. See how it's inletted so it can't get hit by accident. It's kind of like just a cup here, so that whatever finger you press it with has to sink into that recess before it hits the button. It seems like it would be uncomfortable, but it actually works very well, and the action on these is so smooth. They're known for being incredibly smooth and very, very well controlling. If they control the shells in and out very well. His design as far as delivering the rounds and getting rid of them was excellent. Now this the thing with these 22s that's interesting is some of them, they don't have a dedicated I want to think of the right word. They don't have a dedicated ejector. While they have extractors on the side of the bolt like this, you can see the extractor. They wouldn't have dedicated ejectors. It just so happens that this is the third 22 we're doing, and they all do have. You can see it back there. There is an ejector back there, but on a lot of them, the firing pin does double duty. And it functions as both the firing pin and the ejector. And with those, they occasionally feel a little clunkier. I notice they do. It might not be as reliable. And I notice these ones with the ejectors, they do seem to function much better. So with this guy, again, we have a clip here. Everybody seemed to do this a different way. This wasn't a little knob that went behind a recess. This was a very positive clip. This was a much better idea because this never comes out of there no matter what. I mean, unless you actually squeeze this and push this in, it's not coming loose. Where the ones that you have to turn and pull back, sometimes you notice, if there's only like 1 or 2 rounds in the magazine, the spring is much softer. When there's a lot of rounds in there, it's tight. But as you get down to like 1 or 2 rounds, sometimes you notice that if you're walking around, it would turn and start to come out, and then of course it wouldn't feed properly. What's interesting about this guy is that, as you see that the tube travels with the slide, it's more or less delivering a round to the receiver, not so much that a round is being pushed out of the tube and it needs something to control it. It's kind of like hand delivering each round. Every time you pump it, it's putting it in there. You know what I mean? Which it's different. It's a different type of design inside, but let me tell you, it works well. So if you slide out the tube, it's very pretty much the same as the others. It has a bullet-shaped recess here, so you just by looking at it, you don't accidentally feed them the wrong way. And like I always say, you can always tell the quality of these by when you butt up against the rounds with the magazine tube, how easy it is to load it, to charge it like that and clip it in. This one is never a problem. Doesn't matter how many you put, doesn't matter what kind of rounds they are. And these snap caps, they're aluminum, and they're not lead or brass. They're not very forgiving. So these things are a real pain in the neck if it's clunky. And look at this. I could just push it over and over again. They're not all like this. So when you go to push in and they hang up and you got to twist them and you got to bang it just to get the magazine closed. But man, what this guy did, I don't know. It doesn't seem that he had a problem with it. And then functioning, I'll do this slow. Watch how nice this elevator. It's tough to do it slow, you know, because it just kind of wants to, see, it just wants to snap into place. But nice, right? As you start going forward, you see how that lifted up in there? That was beautiful. That was really nice. Look at that. Zoom. Very nice. Yep. This one functions smooth as butter. And let's see what else. What other information do I have here? Not much really. This is a, like I said about options before, this is a 3/4 length magazine tube. So this holds 16 shorts or 12 longs or 11 long rifles. Or you could get combinations of them too. If you wanted to put a few long rifles, then a few shorts, whatever, it will feed them that way. So you'd have to figure out, you could be here all day figuring out all the possible combinations. But if you use just shorts, that's 16. That's a lot of fun plinking time per load, you know, with the shorts. And it does, I shot a lot of CB caps through this thing, and it does cycle them super reliably. That was awesome. So the takedown on this guy is, again, like the Winchester Model 90. This one is awesome. It's a very simple takedown. Very easy. And you see it's very simple to even service these, to take the bolts out of these and clean the bolts off. But, you know, he was criticized, Pedersen, for his unusually complicated designs, but that's what I've read, you know. And then I'm looking at this and at the Model 14, I don't really see it here. So I don't know. He had designed some pistols and some other stuff, so maybe that's what they were talking about. But this doesn't seem overly complex. See, this has a locating pin. You see that? So you can't just shove it down. It's kind of go in and then forward. This one. In and then forward. There we go. And that's that. How simple is that? Gorgeous. Yep. The person who requested this one was right on the money, because this one is freaking awesome. And I don't blame him for wanting to see it. So that's the Remington Model 12. Annie Oakley's favorite. Yeah, it must have been freaking accurate for her to be into it, you know what I mean? And, yeah, so, once again, let me know what you'd like to see next. I guarantee you I have it. Get crazy. You know what? I think I'm going to do... I'm just dying to do one. There's one that I just really want to feature, because it's just... I just love this one so much. It's just so oddball and crazy. So, if you want to request another one, think oddball and crazy, and then maybe it'll be the one that I want to do. But I might do that one next, and then whatever somebody suggests, I'll do after that. And whatever, we don't have to do them every Sunday. I could squeeze these in. I'm having fun doing this. We could do one every few days. I don't care. I'm getting like, right now, the last one I posted, I see 30 views. The one before that is like 70 views. There's not a ton of views here. I was all happy about getting 1,000 subscribers, but I don't think, I think there's like a core group, and I don't mind if the core group is 30 or 70. If I get 100 views on a video within a week, that's a fine audience for me. If I was sitting in an auditorium with 100 people that wanted to listen to me talk about these 22s, I would be happy. So if this is my forum to be able to do that, awesome. So you guys keep tuning in, and we'll see. Maybe the steady fan base grows. Who knows? But next 22, Put it out there. Any questions you got on this guy, like, I'll answer in the next video. What kind of comments have I gotten? Some guy said, break out those stires. So wasn't really very supportive of the 22 thing going on, but the stires will be broken out as soon as the weather gets warm, I promise. I'll do a video number 2 on the stires if this guy wants to see him. I don't care. And what did someone else say that I say too much? Another guy pointed out something that I had an accessory I had on my Swedish Mauser that was upside down. He was absolutely right. I knew about it already for years, but I don't feel like taking the video down or changing it. But he was correct. So I do appreciate the heads up on something being incorrect. That's always helpful, someone pointing something like that out. And what else? I can't really remember. There's a lot of people saying welcome back, and that felt really good. So anyway, this is Milsurp Garage with the Model 12C. Why do I feel like I forgot something? Well, Remington really came to the table with this thing, I'll tell you. This was a gallery gun forever. I mean, this was a lot of the actual shooting galleries that used these things, that coined the term gallery guns for these things, actually used this one. You know what I mean? This one and the Winchester 1890. They really were the probably 80% of the shooting galleries that had these gallery guns were using the Winchester 1890 and the Remington 12C. And yeah, they get a bad rap a little bit because they say the bluing wears off here on the tube because it has to travel through these rings. But that's what makes it look cool. You know? Could you imagine something this old and still functioning perfectly? It's almost like the wear that it has actually breaks it in and makes it function better. Could like a guy like Pedersen and a guy like Browning have actually been smart enough to factor in the wear and to make sure that they would still be functioning perfectly even with wear on certain items, certain places where it would wear? Could they have been that advanced? Unbelievable. You know, you'd think that as it got old and things got sloppy that it would function worse, but these things are so incredibly reliable, you know. It's sick. Anyway, so that's that. That's the 12C. Let me know what you want to see next. Either that or I'm picking it. I got one in mind, so I think I might just do that one next, and then whatever you guys want to see will be after that. And I'll try to squeeze those within a week. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.